let's have a little chat. So hello and welcome to Ewe Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else that takes my crafty fancy. So at the moment I'm not doing an awful lot of that. Well, I'm doing a lot of sewing, but not that I can share with you yet. Not for another couple of weeks because I'm working on some bridesmaids outfits. So that means there's not an awful lot of time for crafting other bits and bobs. As regular viewers know, I've been doing all sorts of other little videos whilst I'm working on the bridesmaids outfits, particularly as the day gets closer. Now, part of the reason that the bridesmaids dresses are all-encompassing at the moment is because my bridesmaids are still growing, so I couldn't start the outfits as early as I would if I was making them for adults. But we are nearly there now. Which is good because it's just under 2 weeks to the wedding day and they do need to wear something. So what I thought I'd do whilst we're waiting for the bridesmaids dress videos to be ready was I would come on here and have a little bit of a chat about whatever sort of comes to mind. And the first thing that springs to mind is, what am I going to do with the leftover fabrics from my bridesmaids outfits? I've got chiffon, I've got satin, I've got lace, and I've got the crepe lining. And there is a fair bit left over because I ordered enough skirt fabric for, well, I thought I'd ordered enough skirt fabric for one view. In actual fact, I hadn't quite ordered enough because the girls all wanted ankle length skirts, which is fine because the hems would be an awful lot longer if I'd have done the other view. But it means I have got a fair chunk of that fabric left, and I've got a reasonably sized piece from the top fabrics because again I ordered slightly more than I needed, which is fine. I would rather do that than not have enough for something like this when time is an issue and you don't want to have to order in extra fabric. But what am I going to do with the leftovers? I do like to use my scraps, I do like to use my leftovers, and I don't like to get to the point where I'm binning a load of stuff. I mean, idly biddly, difficult to work with, can barely do anything with scraps. Those I don't mind throwing away so much. But the sizable pieces, I do like to use. And it's not the sort of fabric that I would use for, say, a quilt or a bit of patchwork, because it's chiffon and satin and lace. So what am I going to do with it? If you have any ideas, let me know. The only thing that's sort of come to mind so far for me is something sort of embroidery based, maybe a bit of slow stitching, which may be the way that I go. Maybe some sort of wall hanging or something that can be framed and put up alongside wedding photos. Maybe a pin cushion. I don't know that I really want chiffon pin cushion. The lace could work quite well for that though, with a nice contrast. Oh, the chiffon could contrast underneath. Okay, so some sort of project will be coming up with the leftovers from the bridesmaids outfits. If you have any ideas of things that I could do with the leftovers from my bridesmaids dresses and bridesmaid outfits, bear in mind some of them are sizable pieces and some of them are weird shaped itty bitty cut off from cutting out the fabrics pieces. So there is a bit of a mixture. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you can think of that I could use to use up some of this leftover bridesmaids fabric. And that will probably be something I'd pick up in the autumn or winter and aim to have done by first anniversary. Possibly, maybe. Who knows, it might be 10th anniversary by the time it's done. So there's that. That's the first thing that comes to mind, partly because I'm looking at the box that my bridesmaids fabrics are sat in at the moment because it's waiting to go upstairs. Now that I've cut out the last pieces. So I've got the simple sewing to do and then the finishing up the skirts. And all of that will make more sense in a few weeks when you've seen the videos. There will be at least 3 videos of bridesmaids making, because I'm doing an outfit rather than a dress. So we're going to have one video on the skirts, one on the undertop and one on the overtop. So yeah, so they'll be coming. Not next week, week after will be the first one. So that's first thought. Next thought that springs to mind is I saw a short the other day from Retro Claude. talking about how she'd had a comment on one of her videos that called her unprofessional because she showed mistakes. Really? We think that's a sign of professionalism to not make mistakes? That's not professionalism, that's perfectionism, and it's unobtainable. Everybody makes mistakes. And if you are watching a video of an ordinary person making stuff and they don't show you your mistakes, number one, if you make mistakes, you're going to feel like you're not good enough, potentially. Number two, you're not necessarily going to recognise the mistake, or if you do recognise the mistake, you're not necessarily going to recognise how to fix it. Sharing mistakes is important because it shows that everybody makes them and it helps people learn how to fix them. Professionals are not perfect. They do make mistakes. Part of being a professional is knowing how to fix those mistakes. Now, the other thing, Retro Claude is a professional service. She's done it for a living. But a lot of people on YouTube are not professionals in these things that they're sharing. We're sharing them because we enjoy doing them and we enjoy making the videos and we enjoy the community that comes with it. I have never made any money from sewing or knitting or crochet or anything like that. That's not how I fund my life. It would be nice if making the videos funded my life, but for reasons, that is not going to be the case at any point. We don't need to go into the boring reasons behind why I will not be monetizing this YouTube channel. But mistakes are part of life. Mistakes are important and learning how to fix them is important. We need to see examples of people making mistakes and we need to see that from a very early age. Something I've noticed when I was still working in the classrooms, I don't teach in classrooms, I'm still working in education, I'm just not in the classroom. But there are kids who do not know how to handle making mistakes because they've never had it modelled. They've never seen an adult make a mistake and show effectively how to fix it. They've seen adults make a mistake and fall apart, or they've seen adults who never demonstrate making mistakes because they are perfectionists. And it's not good for kids. It's not good for the resilience. It's not good for helping them learn. We learn from making mistakes. So it's important. So that's mistakes covered. So we've talked about what to do with my leftover bridesmaid fabrics, which is bugging me at the minute. And we've talked about mistakes. What else can we talk about? Challenging ourselves. My other half is a gamer and he really enjoys challenging himself. When games have got to the point where he's played them so much that there's no challenge left, he loses his mojo. I can be a little bit the same with knitting. The projects I'm working on, the projects I have on the needles at the moment are not the most challenging, which you would think would be great whilst I'm working on complicated sewing projects. You'd think that would then encourage me to pick up my simple knitting and crochet projects of an evening when I've not sewn, because I don't sew in the evenings if I can avoid it, because tiredness and I don't mind making mistakes, but there's mistakes and there's mistakes. If I can avoid making big mistakes, I will. But you'd think that the simpler projects would be quite appealing of an evening when I'm not sewing. I have not picked up my knitting or my crochet in several weeks now. The frustrating thing about that is one of them I'd quite like to take on honeymoon with me, and it's not finished. Might need to force myself to work on that for a bit. But I think it's because they're simple projects, and I think my brain is kind of in the zone to do something a little bit more complex. I do have one project on the straight needles that's a little bit more complicated, but that's not being picked up and grabbed either. So maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm just theorising. But challenge is good. Challenge stretches your brain. Challenge keeps you lively, keeps you young. And challenge is what I think, when you see all the apps and stuff that are talking about brain training and helping with later life and keeping your brain active and youthful. And it's the challenge that does it. The challenge is good. Mistakes are good. Scrap projects are good. And I'm now just talking in circles. So I think we might leave it there for this week. I will be back on next week. Not sure entirely what I'll be talking about next week. It might be working out what projects to take with me on honeymoon. And how many to take with me on honeymoon, because I don't know how much time I'll have to work on stuff. Or, what else might it be? I had something in my head just now. It's just flown away. My idea has flown away. Or it might be something else. It might be a surprise. Might be a surprise to me. Oh, it might be trying a new project. Because I've got all my wedding stuff done in time for filming next week, which hopefully I will have done because I'll be filming a week ahead of the wedding, so hopefully everything is done by then. So it might be starting a new project. In a craft that I haven't done very much of. I've dabbled in, but not done very much of. So we'll see. Anywho, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. In the meantime, there is this one here that may be of interest to you, and I will see you soon. But until then, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.